Here are the pros and the cons of living in Norman, Oklahoma. All right, let's go ahead and start with the cons first. So the first con of living in Norman, Oklahoma is going to be the traffic. Now, the traffic is getting a little out of hand here, and I think the reason for it is there's a lot of people moving to the area here, whether it be from out of state or out of the bigger cities like Oklahoma City or even Tulsa. Norman, Oklahoma it's a small town, but it has a big town feel. So if that makes sense. So one of the cons is definitely going to be the traffic. I hate leaving the house anytime after 4 o'clock, from 4 to 6:30. It's always pretty jam-packed with traffic out there. Now we're going to go into the second con, which is the weather. Now in the summertime in Norman, Oklahoma, it is super humid. I'm telling you, it feels like you're outside in a sauna a lot of the times. I will say, however, it is not bad as Florida, but it is still very humid in Oklahoma, in Norman. And that's just one of the things that kind of gets me when we're in the summertime. I hate walking outside and sweating, but I guess you got to deal with it. And in the winter time, the only thing that I don't like about winter is when it gets cold and rainy, it creates a lot of ice. And a lot of the people here in Norman don't really know how to drive when there's icy roads. And especially me, I'll go ahead and take myself as an example. Being from Florida, growing up there, I wasn't really accustomed to driving in the ice. And we ended up moving here to Norman, Oklahoma, and we never left. And we've gone through a few winters now where we've had to drive through the ice, and I definitely had to learn how to do it. Then between April and the beginning of July is tornado season. Now, I have not had an opportunity to see a tornado. I hope I don't ever have to, but we have been through some storms where the tornado sirens outside started going off, and it got kind of nerve-wracking. But thankfully, we have not seen a tornado, but there are a lot of places, a lot of businesses here that are close by that have tornado shelters. So if you move here and you don't have a tornado shelter, definitely find where your closest one is, or you can contact me and I can give you some places where you can actually get one installed at your home for reasonably a cheap price. Now, renting a house or apartment in Norman can be a little expensive, and the reason for it is obviously here in Norman, Oklahoma, we're a big football college town. So there's a lot of college kids here, and there's a lot of landlords that are capitalizing on renting their apartments and houses out to college kids, and they're getting quite a bit of money for them. Now, you can find some very decently priced apartments and houses here, but you got to do a little searching and digging and try to stay away from the college area. Now for the last con. The last con is there's not a lot of places to go shopping in Norman. And what I mean by that is a lot of your bigger cities have a very large mall within them. Norman has a mall called the Sooner Mall. It's actually a really nice mall, but it's fairly small compared to your larger malls in your bigger cities. Now, if you're just wanting to get a few things or you want to just go shopping for some clothes, the Sooner Mall does have some of your essential stores, like, you got Dillard's, JCPenney, you got a few shoe stores in there. But as far as variety, there's not a lot of places within the Sooner Mall. You do have some other strip centers in Norman, Oklahoma, where you can go and find different places. But if you like to go to a large mall and go shopping, you're going to want to go out to Oklahoma City to a mall called Penn Square Mall. Great mall, 2 stories. There's a lot of options there for you to find different stores. All right, guys, now it's time for the pros of living in Norman, Oklahoma. So the first pro of living in Norman, Oklahoma is going to be there are awesome schools here. If you have children and you're looking for schools in Oklahoma, definitely check out the Norman Public School System. There are great programs, and I feel as if they're very well funded. Now, the second pro of living in Norman, Oklahoma are the restaurants. And if you're anybody like me and you like food, you definitely want to check out the restaurants here. One of my all-time favorite restaurants here is called BJ's Brew House. They have one of the best varieties inside that restaurant, and it is awesome. The third pro of living in Norman, Oklahoma is the cost of living. Despite the apartments and houses here being a little pricier than normal, you can actually live here for a lot less than other places. Now, the fourth pro of living in Norman is everybody here is actually pretty nice. Yeah, you do get that one person here and there that might have a negative attitude, or they might be having a bad day, so they are going off on everybody in the supermarket. But for the most part, everybody here are very pleasant. The people here are very nice. And I mean, you can go out into Norman and strike up a conversation with a random stranger, and they're going to be very nice to you, and it'll be a great conversation. Now, the fifth pro of living in Norman, Oklahoma are the coffee shops. I love coffee shops so much. One of my favorite things to do is go to a coffee shop, get a coffee, obviously, and just chill, just relax, read a book, do a little work on the computer. And if you like coffee shops that are not crowded, there are so many coffee shops here that when you go to a coffee shop, they're typically not very crowded compared to other places. So I am a licensed real estate agent in Oklahoma. So if you're planning on moving to Norman, Oklahoma City, Edmond, Yukon, or anywhere in the area, definitely shoot me a message or call me. You can do that at 405-999-6606. I'll be more than happy to help you out and answer any questions you might have about living here in Norman, Oklahoma or surrounding. If you are living in another state and you're trying to move to Oklahoma, or if you're living in another state and you simply want to sell or buy a house, shoot me a message. I actually work with every top real estate agent in every market around the United States, and I'll be happy to connect you with my team to help you sell or buy a house. All right, guys, if you can do me a huge favor and subscribe to my channel, like it, and share it, I would definitely appreciate it. If you want to connect with me, again, shoot me a text message. If you're here in the area, let's meet up, let's talk real estate and get some coffee.